Hi, this is the Afterlife discussion. I have just finished having my interview with John J. Davis, the near-death experiencer. You have just seen the video of the interview for yourself, and I know there are a lot of you all out there saying, what the hell? Wait a minute, this goes against the reincarnation trick. Well, take a breath. I am here to give my thoughts on what John has said so you can understand why he said the things he said, and you can understand how it fits into the reincarnation trick, okay? But before I get into my thoughts, I do want to take the time to thank John for allowing me to interview him, because I have contacted a few people who talk about the reincarnation trick, including Wayne Bush, and I have not heard back from any of them. And I don't know if that's because of the fact that I don't have the thousands or millions of subscribers, or if it's because I'm not as known as, say, Howard Mikowski or Wes Penray, but I haven't heard back from any of them. But I did hear back from John. So I do want to thank him for giving me the chance to share the information that he has on my channel with my subscribers. Now, with that being said, after this interview, I rewatched the whole video, because when you're doing an interview, at least for me anyway, when you're doing an interview, you're listening, but then again, you're not listening. You're trying to make sure that everything is right with the recording and everything, and your questions are all lined up. So you're not really fully listening. So after the interview was done, I watched the interview back, and I truly listened. And what I got from his interview is that Enki and Marduk are some tricky sons of bitches. Oh, they are. I'm telling you, boy, they should get Oscars. I mean, seriously. The deception that they put in front of an Isby, and Isby is a soul, for those who don't know. The deception that they will put in front of an Isby in the afterlife is absolutely insane. This interview has let me know I really have to up my ante when it comes to the afterlife, because these little tricksters, they are going to put on the works to deceive people. I mean, wow. I tell you. Man. Now, John starts off by saying that his near-death experience was unique. And he says, because you know how people who have near-death experiences, they come out of their body, they're hovering above their body, and then they see the tunnel and the white light. Well, my experience was unique, because we never really know what's on the other side of the white light. And, he talks about how he did not see the tunnel. He didn't see the white light. He ended up on the other side of the white light. Now, here's why that is important. If you have to, go back to watch the video again of the interview. Listen when he says, we never know what happens on the other side of the white light. This lets me know, by him saying that, this lets me know that before his near-death experience, he already had a belief instilled within him. And his belief was that when a person dies, their soul comes up out of their bodies, they see a tunnel and a white light. That was a belief he had before having the near-death experience. Now stop right there. Let's say I am, I'm going to try to use a good example here. Let's say I have a belief of this. When I die, I know I'm going to see hell. I know I'm going to see the lake of fire. I'm going to see Baphomet. I may even see the guy who played the demon or the devil. I may even see the guy who played the devil in Tales from the Hood. I know this is what I'm going to see. I just know it. I'm going to see hell. The minute I come up out of the body, I'm going to see it. Well, I'm putting that belief into my ISB. When I go through physical death and my soul comes up out of the body, guess what I'm going to see? I'm going to see what I believed in. Hell, the Satan character that was played in Tales from the Hood. I'm going to see all of that because that's what I believed all during the time that I was alive. If I had a belief of, hey, when I die, I'm going to see 22 virgins. The minute I come into the afterlife, I'm going to see 22 virgins. Well, when I die and enter the afterlife, that's what I'm going to see. John's belief was that when you die, you see the tunnel, you see the white light. Okay? But alongside that belief, there was a lingering wonder. And that lingering wonder was, but now what happens on the other side of that white light? If someone goes through the tunnel in the white light, what happens then? So what Enki and Marduk did, this is them talking. All right, he has his belief. Let's show him his belief and let's fulfill his wondering. His wondering of what happens on the other side of the white light. Let's fulfill his wondering with an answer. So this is why when he had his near-death experience, no, he didn't see the tunnel on the white light immediately. He went on the other side of the white light. And the reason why he went on the other side of the white light is because before the near-death experience, that's what he was wondering about. Now, I know that people see the tunnel and the white light when they die, but what's on the other side of that? Okay, well, here's what's on the other side of it. Let us show you. Now, if he had have crossed over into the afterlife during the near-death experience, not having the belief of a tunnel or a white light, period, he would have never been taken to the other side of the white light. The only reason why he was taken on the other side of the white light is because, one, he believed in the white light. He believed that that's what you see in the afterlife. So his belief became fulfilled, and his wondering of what happens on the other side of the white light, it became fulfilled in the form of, here's what's on the other side. This is why you have to be careful with what you believe. Because whatever you believe, whatever your belief system is, that's what's going to manifest when you cross over. If you believe, for example, and I'm just using this as an example, if you believe that when you die, the first thing you're going to see, and I'm just using this as an example, okay, is bitches and hoes, okay? That's what you're going to see. That's exactly what you're going to see. And the way that you think bitches and hoes are, which is, you got stupid people who think stuff like this. But this is what you're going to see. If you think when you die, you're going to be surrounded by mountains of cocaine, for example, that's exactly what you're going to see. This is exactly what you're going to see. Your belief system creates your reality on the other side. And his belief system was, hey, when you die, you go through the tunnel, you go through the white light, but what happens then? Okay, well, let's bring his belief to life and let's answer his wondering thoughts, his wondering questions of what happens on the other side of the white light. Then he says he remembers the anesthesia going into his arm. It felt warm. He closed his eyes. He opened his eyes and he saw this beautiful marble white building. Now, anyone with true gnosis and really with common sense, to be honest, what does white represent? White represents purity, goodness. So this lets me know, damn it, Enki and Marduk, they're still trying to deceive me. They're pulling out all the stops. They could have shown him a red building. They could have shown him a yellow building, a black building, but they showed him a white marble building. And marble, it shines, especially when polished, and it is sparkly. So all of that, the white sparkly building, which represents purity, goodness, to further enhance the lie that is being shown to John, the delusion that is being shown to John. Oh my God, this must be heaven. This must be paradise because look at this beautiful building. Oh, I know I must be in the atmosphere of purity and goodness, courtesy of the tricksters Enki and Marduk. So that's why it was white and marble, to represent purity, goodness. And if you know anything about Enki and Marduk, you know damn well there's no goodness or purity to either of them. Oh, hell no. But this is all a part of the delusion. Then he goes on and says how he hears in one of his ears a voice say, "Hi, I'm Alan, your spirit guide." Now you all know, come on now, you all have been with me for a long time. You've been with me a long time. You know that spirit guides are archons. Ascended masters are archons. Angels are archons. This is why, if you really know what an angel really looks like, it's a frightening visual. They don't have wings and halos. For those of you all who have already read the Summerland, you know that that's in my book. They don't have wings and halos. They look totally the opposite of that. Because the angels and how they really look, the reason why they really look like that is because they're nothing but a bunch of, well, humans call them aliens, but they're nothing but a bunch of beings, and they're malevolent beings at that. So of course they're not going to have the true appearance of wings and halos, because wings and halos, when you see wings and halos, you think of goodness, purity. And there's nothing good or pure about angels, the real angels. They are all evil and malevolent, and the way they really look represents that. As a matter of fact, I believe one description of the angels is a big eye in the middle of two spinning rings. And every time I see it, it makes me think of Saturn, which is nothing more than Satan. So angels and ascended masters and spirit guides, they're all archons, but they have to deceive. They couldn't come up to John and say, "Hey, John, I'm an archon. I'm here to fuck you up, but come on, let's go." No, they couldn't do that. They have to come acting loving. "John, I'm Alan. I'm a spirit guide." Because he went through two parts of his illusion already. Going on the other side of the white light and seeing what's on the other side of the white light. He's gone through another part of his illusion. The third part of his illusion, the white marble building, which I'm pretty sure when he saw it, oh, this is so pure, it's so good, it's so beautiful. That's another part of the illusion. Now they have to continue the rest of the illusion. Bring in the spirit guide, designed to be your best companion during your visit to paradise in the afterlife. And this is what he was shown through Alan, the spirit guide. Alan was nothing more than an archon, brought to him by Enki and Marduk. Now he says that Alan started telling him everything that he was seeing. Of course. Now let me stop and say this. Let me give you an example. Say you are married. You and your significant other, you have a teenage daughter. Okay? You've gone out for the night. You come back home and there's a huge party in your living room. Bunch of teenage guys and girls. You go up to your teenager, your child, and you say, "Vanessa, what in the hell what are all these people doing here? Didn't we tell you we didn't want guests?" Here comes the lie. "No, Mom, these people here, they are here because they're helping me study. This is not a party. See, what you're really seeing is people that are just helping me study. And, if you just decide to get something to drink, and we can't study without music. So this is what you're seeing. It's not a party. What you are seeing is just us having a study session, but we can't do it without music. Mom, I'm telling you, this is exactly what you're seeing. Dad, I'm telling you, this is exactly what you're seeing." So you're telling me we're not seeing a party? No, this is just a study guide. This is just a study visit. And we're just drinking, while studying, and we're listening to music because, when you listen to music while studying, it helps you study better. Oh, okay, good. Because we were about to get angry. You know damn well that's not what's happening. It's a damn party. People are drinking. They're up there twerking and all. They're doing all kind of things. It's not a study visit. It's a party. But you are being told what she wants you to believe regarding what you are seeing. She wants you to see what she is telling you to see. And knowing that what she is telling you that you are seeing is nothing but an illusion, an illusionary lie. This is what happened to John. Alan came and started showing him everything that he was seeing. And everything that Alan was telling John that he was seeing was a lie. Alan may have told John, there's a gardens. In reality, those weren't real gardens. That was just an illusion. What Alan was doing was telling John what he wanted John to believe that he was seeing. That's the trickiness of the archons. He says that Alan took him on this journey to heaven. Now, you know damn well, I keep telling you all, there is no heaven. The heaven that Christians and Catholics think exists, it does not exist. There is no damn heaven. That's a lie brought to you by Marduk, specifically brought to you by Marduk. That is all his doing right there. So there is no heaven, but John can't know this. We can't let John know this. We have to keep up the illusion, because if we keep up the illusion, he's going to go back and tell people. And then the lie will continue to be believed. So let's have him to believe that we are showing him heaven, when really all it was just a propaganda realm in the Matrix. Now John was told by Alan that the building that he was in, the white marble building, is an orientation center. Now, this is what they have on the Summerland, and they have it as well in this propaganda realm. But on the Summerland, they have the same thing. When you get there to the Summerland, you are taken into orientation to be brainwashed to believe what they want you to believe. That's the orientation. But now the orientation center in the Summerland does not look like the one in the propaganda realm in the Matrix that they show near-death experiencers. The orientation center that's in the propaganda realm in the Matrix, it's designed to look heavenly. It's designed to make it look heavenly so people can believe, oh my God, oh, this is so heaven. I know that this is heaven. Oh, hallelujah. This is what, I mean, seriously, that's what it's for. To keep up the illusionary lie. And he was told by John that this orientation center is the first place people come to when they finish their lives. Again, lying to John. Because Marduk and Enki and the Archons, they are all liars. That's not the first place you come to, especially if you have gnosis. If you have gnosis, no, you're not going there. If you have gnosis, you're getting the hell out of the Matrix. You are escaping the reincarnation trick and you're going to Pleroma. And there is no orientation center in no Pleroma. Hell no. So that's a lie. But they're telling the lie to John, so that when John finishes his near-death experience, he can tell it to the masses. Oh, okay. Well, there's my dead body on the floor. So, wait a minute now. Let me think. I remember hearing that when I come up out of the body, I would go to this orientation center, and they'll begin to think up in their minds They'll begin to think up in their minds this orientation center. And you know what I just said previously? What you think up manifests in the afterlife. So you think it up and they're there. And they are at this orientation center that is connected to Enki and Marduk. Therefore, they ain't going nowhere. They're not going anywhere. They're going to stay right there because they think that's where they're supposed to go. He saw these white marble columns all the way down. Heaven. Heaven. Oh, look at the beauty and the purity and the sparkle righteousness of heaven and the buildings. All of that is an illusion. Because Enki and Marduk, they hate purity, they hate righteousness, they hate goodness. So why would they have, excuse my language, that shit? Because that's what they call it. Then Enki and Marduk are by themselves and they're talking with each other. And even when they're talking with their archons and the other beings with them, that's what they call it. Why would they have that shit in their vicinity? They don't have it in their vicinity. They only have it in that realm that is the propaganda realm to trick the near-death experiencer, to have the near-death experiencer to believe that by them seeing these things, they're in heaven. Now, he says that there were these white marble tables, and there were two people sitting at each of these tables. Now, I don't know. Could this have been the Lords of Karma? Because I know a lot of near-death experiencers who know about the reincarnation trick. They have said, yeah, I went over to the other side and I was greeted by what is known as the Lords of Karma. These kind of like these spiritual judges. So could that have been what he was seeing at the tables? Now, I could not ask him at this point, hey, do you think they were the Lords of Karma? Because you're talking to someone who's a Christian, who loves God. So with that being the case, he doesn't believe in any beings called the Lords of Karma. So I couldn't ask him that, because if I had have asked him that, he would have said, what's the Lords of Karma? I don't know what that is. So I didn't ask him that, and that's why I didn't ask him that. But I do wonder if that's who he was seeing at those tables, the Lords of Karma, just sitting at these tables watching him. He saw these different doorways, 7 to 8 feet tall. And he said when you looked, in them, it was like looking out into space or looking at space. I think he said looking out into space. Yeah. When you come up out of the body and you are in the astral, yeah, you'll see the universe. And the universe that you're seeing is the universe that is connected to the matrix, not the real universe. You don't see the real universe till you go through the holes in the grid. You're seeing the fake universe. When you come up out of the body and you go into the astral, you're seeing the fake universe, the fake stars, the fake space, the fake this, the fake that. So remember now, let's go back. Alan, the spirit guide, who's really an archon, took him to heaven, paradise, which is really a propaganda level within the matrix. He sees these doors, and when he looks through the doors, I guess the doors had windows. He looks in the doors or looks through the doors or looks even looking in the door. The door had to have a window for him to look in it. When he looks in the doors, he sees space. He's seeing outside of that propaganda realm, the matrix universe that is outside of that propaganda realm, the matrix space that is outside of that propaganda realm. Because that realm is inside of the matrix. That realm, that propaganda realm is inside of the matrix, and the matrix is the fake universe. The real universe is Paroma. The fake universe is the matrix. And the fake universe known as the matrix, it is just as expansive as the real universe. All the planets are inside of this fake universe. John sees this guy who has his hand over his chest, and Alan, the real Archon, because that's what I'm going to start calling him, because he's not a spirit guide, he's an Archon. Alan, the Archon, he tells John he just died from a heart attack. So John was saying that he wasn't the only, and when I say this, I don't mean this to insult him, because it's really sad that this man, he saw what he saw and he believed what he saw. So when I say this, please don't think I'm saying this to insult him or disrespect him. But John saw this man who just had a heart attack and died, because that was showing John, no, you're not the only, the Alan didn't come out and say this, but it was a visual to show John, see, you're not the only sap here. You're not the only sucker here. Look, there's another one. He just died. And the same bullshit that Alan, the spirit guide, Alan, the Archon, was showing John, I'm pretty sure another Archon, disguised as a spirit guide, showed this man who walked up to John, who had just died and had a heart attack. So that right there lets me know that John was being shown, hey, see, you're not the only sucker here. There's another sucker right there. Look at that. There he is right there. He just died. Look who he is. It was, and it almost kind of seemed like a mockery thing. See, look at that motherfucker. You're not the only dumbass here. Look at that. There's another one. And see, if you have the gnosis, you'll see the sinisterness in that. Because why else? Why else tell him that information? Does that information apply to John? No. Even then, the Archons, Anenki and Marduk, they're working their little coded work to try to show John, see, you're not the only sucker falling for this. Here's another sucker. He has fell for this. This is why he's here, walking around. And I just heard this. He said that the people sitting at the tables are orientation counselors. I wholeheartedly believe now that what he was seeing was the Lords of Karma. The Lords of Karma. See, they couldn't use the name the Lords of Karma to John. They couldn't tell him that, because what is the Lords of Karma? Then they would have to go into a whole explanation about that. They decided to use a more heavenly name. Orientation counselors. That sounds okay. They're here to counsel me while I'm in heaven, while I'm in paradise. Again, more of the illusion. The guide then told John that whenever anyone dies, they go through the white light and they go to this orientation center. Again, this is a lie. When you die, if you physically, and again, when I say die, I'm talking about physically, because you're not dying spiritually. Your soul can never die, but your body can. When you physically die and you go into the afterlife, if you have gnosis, you're not going into any white light or to any orientation center. You're going to go through the holes in the grid, or you're going to go, if you don't use the hole in the grid, you can teleport yourself to Pleroma. Now, if you physically die and you go into the afterlife and you see the white light and you go to the white light, you're still not going to any orientation center, not at a center, not to a center that's in the propaganda realm. You're going to the orientation center at the Summerland. You see, that's where you're going. And it's going to be a very not nice experience. That's exactly where you're going, because when you go through the white light, you are agreeing to be a part of reincarnation, which means until you get reincarnated, you have to remain at the Summerland. So you're not going to the propaganda realm of heaven, paradise. No, you're going to the Summerland. And you will go to the orientation center there, but it's not going to be orientation. It's going to be brainwashing and brutal brainwashing. That's where you're going. But Enki and Marduk and the Archons, they don't want you to know this. They want you to think that when you die, go to the white light, because when you go to the white light, you're going to go to the orientation center in heaven, paradise. That's what they want you to think. Okay, that's exactly what they want you to think. Believe the lie. Then he says that so many are afraid to die. That they don't realize that we are not from Earth. Oh, that's right. We aren't from Earth. We did not originate here. But then he says, we are from there. He says, we're from the other side. That's our home. And judging from his near-death experience, he thinks that this propaganda realm that he believes was heaven, that's where we all are from. That's our home. That's what Enki and Marduk want you to believe. That's what they want you to believe. Because if you believe in that, then that will make it easy for you to be ensnared into the reincarnation trick one more damn time. You see, this is what I mean when I say Enki and Marduk, they are some tricksters. They want you to believe, oh, heaven is my home. That's where I belong. That's where I and every one of us, that's where we all came from. That's where we all came from. That's our home. So why not go back there? Because that's where we came from. And the white light is going to take us home. Just like we may be Dorothy in the Wizard of Oz. I mean, that's what they want you to believe. So that way you can get ensnared into that trick. He says the orientation counselors helps people remember where they're from, because when they cross over, they're confused. They don't know where they came from. So what that means is if you cross over into the, well, again, you're not going to go to this orientation center in this propaganda realm. The propaganda realm is only for near-death experiencers. It's only for them to see. You will never see that realm ever. If you physically die with no gnosis, you are never going to that realm, because that realm is not for you. That realm is only to sell near-death experiencers a delusional lie, so that those near-death experiencers can take that lie and run with it by giving it to the masses. So, but they want you to believe that if you go through the white light, it's okay. It's okay if you go through the white light and you're still confused about things, because once you go all the way through the white light and come out of that white light, you're going to be greeted by orientation counselors who will brainwash you, who will tell you exactly where you came from. If you believe that, then you will have no problem with going through the white light. You'll have no problem going with Jesus or Yahweh or Yahawashah. You'll have no problems going with spirit guides. You'll have no problems going into the tunnel. So this Archon, disguised as a spirit guide, told John, watch him, talking about watch the man who had a heart attack, because the man who had a heart attack, he went off with one of the orientation counselors to a table to talk. And so you heard John said he saw the man change from an elderly man, an older man, to a man in his 30s. Once again, the delusion. Oh, this is great. So that means if I die 89 years old, arthritis all through my body, aging skin, oh God, when I get to heaven, I can be young and beautiful again. This is great. This is great. Who would not want to be there? Oh my God, this is awesome. Oh, bullshit. Bullshit. Okay, I am calling bullshit. The only way you can go from being older to younger again, especially through their means, is through reincarnation. Reincarnating into another baby body. Now, if you cross over into the afterlife with gnosis and you leave the reincarnation trick behind and you escape the matrix and you go to Paroma, yeah, you can think up, hey, I'm going to think up being 25 years old again, and it will manifest there. But that's of your own doing. But through them, Through Enki, Marduk, and the Archons? Oh no, they're not going. The only way that they're going to make you young again is when you get reincarnated into another baby body to do the whole life cycle all over again. But again, they cannot let John know this. They have to make it look, oh my God, if this can be done here, oh, I can't wait to get here. I mean, I know this is just a near-death experience, but man, I can't wait to die, because I die and I get to go to this realm. That's heaven. That's paradise. I get to go there and I get to be young again. Oh, this is so amazing. This is great. Sell the lie. Sell the delusion. More delusional lies he's being told. More delusional lies he is being told by this archon disguised as a spirit guide. When God created us, he created us all to be in our 30s. Oh, where in the hell in the Bible does it say that in? Where in the hell? Well, then I wonder how come Moses started off with being a little baby in a bassinet or whatever kind of the basket case he was in the water. How did that happen? Why didn't they just have Moses start off at 30 years old? This is bullshit. But see, at this point, John is so deep into the delusion. Enki, Marduk, and the Archons feel like we can tell him anything now. He's in here. He's locked in this delusion. They can tell him God wanted everybody to start off as pandas. Then after they go from pandas, then they'll transition into humans. He could tell, the spirit guide could tell John that, and John would believe it. Not saying that because John is stupid. No, I'm not saying that. Because I'm not going to, I want to say this too. This guy here is so, he has been so deceived. And it's not his fault. It's really not his fault. But he has been so deceived. And so when I say these things, it's not me insulting him or anything like, because anyone, if you do not find that gnosis, you can be deceived like this too. So I'm not insulting him. I am not. But when he was in this realm, the more he stayed in this realm, the more spiritually dumbed down he became. He's so spiritually dumbed down that they can tell him God created all of us to be in our early 30s, and he will believe it without question, because he's so locked into this delusion by him being in this realm. And now remember, time doesn't work in the afterlife the same way it works here. 2 minutes here is like 5 years in the afterlife. So he's been in this afterlife realm that belongs to Enki and Marduk and the Archons for so long, even if it seems like just a few minutes, but it's long there. He's been there for this long amount of time that he is so spiritually dumbed down that when they tell him God created everybody to be in their 30s, John doesn't question it. Because I'm telling you, if someone were to tell me here or in the afterlife, God created everyone to be in their 30s, I'm going to be like, yeah, no, he didn't. Where in the hell are you getting that information from? Because I don't believe it. That's bull. I would question it and I would doubt it. But see, he doesn't do that, because the longer he's there, the more spiritually dumbed down that he gets, making him susceptible to believe anything that he is told. Then John said he saw the man walk down these steps and, to these gardens with this beautiful green grass. Well, again, this propaganda realm, this is why this realm is only shown to near-death experiencers, to confirm the lie that heaven is real. They showed this little boy this one time, and they made a movie about the little boy, and I think the little boy or his parents wrote a book called Heaven is for Real. And they showed this little boy the same thing. I saw heaven, and heaven was real, and it was beautiful. And knowing damn well, no, that was an illusion. You see? And so this is the illusion that they spread. Oh, look at the green grass, the beautiful gardens. This must be heaven. Oh my God. No, because nothing beautiful is connected to Enki, Marduk, and the Archons. Absolutely nothing. So he sees all of these people going to and from around these gardens and flowers. And that's where this man who had a heart attack, that's where he is walking towards. And so the spirit guide, who is the archon, tells John these are all the people that this man knew. So again, they are not only working the delusion for John, but for this man as well who had a heart attack. Having this man to think, hey, I am surrounded by all the people that I knew in my life. See, they have to keep this delusion going on. They have to keep it going to make anyone there believe, hey, this is what it's all about. This is the life, afterlife. This is it. He then goes on to say that the Archon spirit guide told him the reason why our loved ones are there to greet us when we cross over is because Earth is one of the hardest planets to come into. He then says he's told by the spirit guide, who's really an Archon, that the reason why when we cross over, we're greeted by our loved ones is because Earth is one of the hardest, the hardest realms. And a lot of us, we don't really want to come here. And so he says, that everybody on the other side, they know how difficult it can be for all of us here. And so that's why they're there waiting for us when we come back to that realm, which is supposed to be heaven. Again, that all of that is bullshit. They will see, so that I'm telling you, Enki, so that, and Marduk, they're telling you that so that when you cross over and you see your loved ones, you won't think, wait a minute, those aren't my damn loved ones. Those are nothing but archons trying to trick me to go with them. No, I'm not going with them. You won't think that. You'll think, oh, they're there to greet me and comfort me after having such a hard-ass life on earth. They're here for my good. So I can trust them. I can go with them because that's what they're there for. See, all of this lies from A to Z. Now he says he's taken to a room where there are nothing but movie screens all around him in a row. And this is where he sees his life review. Now, 360-degree vision. That's what you have when you come outside the body. That's exactly what you have when you come outside of the body. You have 360-degree vision. I put this in my novel, The Summerland, What Happened to August Cameron. Now, what they did, what the Archons and Enki and Marduk did, was they projected his 360-degree vision into a manifestation of televisions all around him. That's what they did. And on those televisions were clips of his life as part of the life review. Those televisions were a manifestation of his 360-degree vision that he had. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Are you following me? That the fact that he had 360-degree vision, they decided to manifest that in the form of televisions all around him. So those televisions were his manifestation of his 360-degree vision. So then the Archon spirit guide says, this is the life review. The only time you have a life review is when you accept the reincarnation trick. Because if you come up out of your body and you teleport yourself out of the matrix and away from the reincarnation trick and go to Pleroma, you're not going to have a life review in Pleroma, okay? The only time you have a life review is when you have accepted the reincarnation trick. So this lets me know this man accepted the reincarnation trick unknowingly. And what is one of the steps of the reincarnation trick? The life review. And as you can hear, I mentioned, I asked him rather, did they mention karma? And John said that his spirit guide never mentioned that. And that's very, very crucial to know because you see, The reason why they didn't mention karma is because most Christian people, now, you'll find some people who pretend to be Christians, but I'm talking about the ones who, oh my God, blessed be, hallelujah, those people are Mary, Mother of God. These people, they don't believe in karma. They believe in vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, and all of this. So, to mention karma to him would have gone against the belief that he had, because you heard him say he had Catholicism training, so he was religious. Now, he wasn't like Rod Parsley religious or T.D. Jakes religious, but he was religious. He had training in it. And so to mention karma would have thrown him out of the brainwashing loop, thrown him out of the disillusion. So they had to only use things with him that would keep him locked into that delusion. If they had mentioned karma, he would have said, wait a minute, karma? No, wait a minute. I don't believe in karma, because nowhere does it talk about karma. I as a Catholic, I never, no, wait a minute, something's not right. And then there would have been a chance for him to just break free of that delusion. So this is why they didn't mention karma to him, whereas with some others, they do. So then John says that this spirit guide / archon takes him to this tall white marble building where there inside it looks like a movie theater, where you have this big screen, and on this big screen John is shown all of his past lives. Now, do you know why this is shown? Do you know why John saw this? John saw this because, and again, everything that John is being shown, he is being shown these things so that he can go back and tell the masses. Now, a part of the reincarnation trick is the memory wipe. Wiping your memory of the last life you just left from, and remembering any other life you had in the past. Anyone with true gnosis knows that that's a part of the reincarnation trick process. Well, to counteract that, let's show him that there's no such thing as a memory wipe. When you come here, you get to see all the lives you had in the past. Well, then if that's the case, then that must mean there is no such thing as a memory wipe. We'll remember who we were from in the last life, and the life before that, and the life before that, and the life before that. We'll remember all of our lives. So it's okay to go there, because there's no memory wipe that happens there. They don't wipe your memory of who you are or who you once were. That's a lie. Oh, okay, this place is all right. Again, everything that is being done to uphold the lie of Enki and Marduk and the Archons and the reincarnation trick process. And he says we can have these lifetimes to learn and to experience and grow. No, this is the same type of mindset as, you come down here to learn and to experience and to grow. I hear a lot of people saying we are here having a human experience. No, the only reason why you come back down here time and time and time and time and time again is because Enki and Marduk want it to happen so that you can continuously feed them. It's not so you can come down here and learn and experience and grow. No, that's bullshit. Enki and Marduk don't give a damn about you growing anywhere or in. Enki and Marduk do not give a damn about you growing. They don't give a damn about you experiencing all of these positive things that you are told that you are down here to experience. No, that is not where it's at for them. The only reason why they have you coming back down here again and again and again and again, because as long as you keep coming back down here again and again and again and again and again to this realm, which belongs to them, you are constantly a food source for them. And you being a food source for them is how they thrive. It's how they thrive. But again, they can't let John know this. So they tell him a lie, a disillusioned lie. You experience many lifetimes to grow and to learn and to experience this and that. That's bullshit. That's a lie. Then he says something very, very important. He says he was told that we are not forced to come into a lifetime. And you heard me pose to him the question, so that means they have to, you have to agree. And he basically says yes. You see, this is very important. They cannot force you to go into the light. They can't force you to go into the tunnel. They can't force you to go into accepting reincarnation. They can't force you to go through the life review. You have to agree to all of these things. The reason why they can't force you is so that when you do agree to all these things and you find out later, oh my God, they fucked me over, you can't blame them because you gave up your will to them by saying, yes, yes, yes. Once again, I show this in my novel, The Summerland, where they tried to get August. Oh, come on, August. Come on, August. No, August is like, no, you need me to agree. I'm not going to agree. And so this is very important. When you cross over, I hear a lot of people saying, yeah, they can force you. No, they can't. They can't. Now, they can force you if you turn and look at the light, because with you turning and staring at that light, just by staring at it, you are agreeing to go into the light, because you're looking at the light, and you're, oh my God, it's so beautiful. Oh, it's nothing, in all honesty, it's nothing beautiful about that light. That light is nothing but a dark deception. There's nothing warm about that light. The warmth that is coming from that light is a deception. And so the fact that you think it is warm and beautiful, that is you subconsciously agreeing to the light. So you are agreeing by turning to look at it. And that's how it draws you in like a magnet, because you chose to look at it instead of saying, nuh-uh. You can feel the light behind you. You can, and I'm pretty sure you can even hear the light whoosh. You can hear that sound, or you can hear the whoosh of the tunnel. You can hear that. And when you hear it, I'm not going to even look at it. I'm not. As a matter of fact, I'm going home to Pleroma. I'm going. You don't even pay it any attention, because when you pay it attention, what you are doing is you're giving your choice over. You are agreeing. So this is important, because they told John, you cannot be forced. You have to agree. You have to agree to be a sucker of theirs. Okay, that's what it is. Then here's another crucial part. He's told by this Archon spirit guide that they're going to this, big dome building. And he's told that they go to this building whenever they want to plan a life. And they go inside, and he opens up this scroll. And in this scroll, he was told that every time a soul comes into another, a lifetime, their life is planned. All the major events of their life is planned. Now, that's what you would call a soul contract. And that soul contract is a binding contract between you and Enki and Marduk, who is Lucifer and Satan. And now that contract is made up of lies, because they don't tell you all of the hard shit that you're going to go through. That's really in the contract. They show you all of the good stuff. You're going to go down, Jessica. You're going to go down into another lifetime, and you are going to know, you're going to learn about neglect. You're going to be able to view the feelings of neglect and the hurt of neglect. Great, okay. She's born, and her mother or father dumps her off in a trash can immediately after she's born. She gets picked up. Somebody comes past, the trash can, hears her crying, takes her to, oh my God, I found this baby. Baby goes to the foster care system. All during the foster care system, she's raped, she's beaten, she's tossed to the side. No, I don't want this bitch. No, shit. I don't give a damn about the foster care money. No, get her out of here. All of that. All through her life, she is neglected. She finds a guy, and they get married. The guy doesn't pay her the time of the day. He's a terrible husband. He has women on the side neglecting her. Just all through her life, neglect. And she does not remember that that was in her soul contract, because before they put you into another baby body, they do memory wipe you. They wipe your memory, having you to forget everything that you went through, the whole process of the reincarnation trick before you got into that baby body. So you don't remember what was in the soul contract, but that was in your soul contract for you to experience being dumped in a trash can, being neglected by your parents, being neglected by foster parents, being neglected by your significant other, being neglected by this, that, the third, all of that. If you had in your soul contract poverty, you don't remember that you signed the soul contract stating that, yeah, you would experience what poverty is. You would never be able to have a roof and four walls for longer than a week. You're living on the streets time after time after time after time again. You can't afford to pay your rent. You can't afford to pay your mortgage. You can't afford to pay your bills. All types of poverty that you're going through. The same thing with abuse. You don't remember that you signed the soul contract telling you, yeah, you're going to go through this type of abuse and that type of abuse. And yes, they do pick your parents. They pick your parents, your sisters, your brothers, your family members, your friends, everyone that you come in contact with. They have already pre-chosen those people, because all of those people are designed to be a part of the hardships that you're going to go through. And why? Because the hardships feed Enki and Marduk. So when he says, yeah, they plan your life, yes, they do. If you go through the white light and you go through the reincarnation trick process, yes, you're going to know about this soul contract, and you're going to sign this soul contract, and you don't remember it, but what you signed was for you to go through all types of hardships that are connected to that soul contract. But see, you don't remember that because they do the memory wipe. This is what it is. This is what he was shown. And let me just say as well, a soul contract is never anything good. You are never signing a soul contract that says, you know what, you're going to have all the luxuries of life. You're going to have a wonderful mother, a wonderful father, and you're going to have wonderful brothers and sisters who love you. You're going to get married to the man of your dreams. You're going to have a beautiful career. No, because that doesn't serve Enki and Marduk, the ones who are making up this soul contract. It's all bad shit. You're going to get raped at 8 years old. You're going to get murdered when you get 13. You're going to have your parents beating you with toasters and all of that kind of. You're going to have each husband you have is going to cheat on you. And one of the husbands is going to give you AIDS, or one of the husbands is going to give you gonorrhea, or one of the husbands are going to murder you. You know, it's always bad things that are in your soul contract each and every time. You are never going to be given a good soul contract. Never. And so understand this. Don't think, oh, well, so also contracts aren't bad. Yes, they are. The only time you sign a soul contract is when you go through the reincarnation trick. And anything that's a part of the reincarnation trick process is bad. That includes soul contracts. Every soul contract is bad. This is why before you cross over, you need to break that contract. Break that contract from your ISB before you cross over. Because if you cross over with that soul contract still being binded to you, the ISB is just the same as you taking something from this prison planet with you when you cross over, which is going to make you boomerang right back down here again. So he said that the guide wanted him to, to tell people that our lifetimes aren't accidents. We have a real purpose for being here. Well, we do. Yeah, that's absolutely true. Our lifetimes aren't accidents. No, it wasn't an accident that we were put here. We were put here because we were tricked into being put here. And our purpose for being here is to be food for Enki, Marduk, and the Archons. That's our purpose for being here. And this is why it's so important. It is so important that you make this your last lifetime here by not allowing yourself to be tricked this time whenever it is the time for you to cross over this time. So yeah, he was right about that. Yeah, these lifetimes that we have had in the past, and we have lived, all of you all out there, You all have had hundreds of lifetimes. I know you all have. I know I have. I know all the lifetimes I've had. And so every lifetime that we have all had, no, they were not accidents. They were specifically done by Enki and Marduk and the Archons to bring us back down here time and time and time and time again to be a food source for them, to be a food source for them. And the only way they were able to do this was by having us to be tricked into agreeing to come down here. That is our only purpose for being down here. It's not to awaken people up. I hear people say that all the time. I'm here. I believe that the universe brought me down here to awaken people up. That's bullshit. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. No, they did not bring you here. The universe did not bring you here to wake anyone up. Enki and Marduk brought you here because you agreed to the trick. That's why you're here. That is the real purpose of us being down here, to be a food source for Enki, Marduk, and the Archons. And it all came from us agreeing to the trick, the lie of the reincarnation trick. All right, then he goes on to say that whatever you like to do on Earth, you can do on the other side. If you like to ride bikes, if you like to paint, you can do that. Again, when you get to the Summerland, you're not doing any of those things. You're not doing any of those things. The Summerland, and again, for those who have heard me say this before in past videos, the Summerland is a real realm. It's a holding realm for souls, Isbies, until they are reincarnated. When you go to the Summerland, you're not going to be, oh, well, I think it's a beautiful day. I'm going to go and I'm going to ride bikes. No, you're not going to do that there. Everything that happens in the Summerland, it is all for the benefit of Enki and Marduk, for them getting, and of course they're Archons, for them getting loose energy off of you. But now, that type of information can't be told to the masses, because if it is, then no one would go through the white light. No one would go with the spirit guides or the Messiah or the supposedly real loved ones, or go through the tunnel. So they have to make it like, they have to tell the lie. If you go to the tunnel, if you go to the white light, if you go with the ascended masters, the spirit guides, the messiahs, the fake loved ones, you'll go to this realm of heaven. And when you go to this realm of heaven, whatever you do on earth, you can do up there. If you want to ride bikes, you can ride bikes. If you want to go to the beach, you can go to the beach. Oh, bull. No, that's a lie. When you get to the Summerland, you think it's bad down here. Oh, go to the Summerland. You haven't seen, excuse my language, shit yet. The Summerland makes Earth look like Disneyland. But they have to make you believe in a lie that will get you to agree to reincarnate. Because if you agree to reincarnate, you will go with them. You will go with Enki disguised as Messiah, Jesus, or Messiah Yahweh, or whomever. You'll go with Marduk disguised as Messiah Jesus or Messiah Yahweh or whomever. You'll go with the ascended masters, the spirit guides, the angels, the supposed loved ones. You'll go with them, people. Now, when you go to Pleroma, anything you do down here on earth that is of high vibrational frequency, you can do in Pleroma. If you want to ride bikes up in Pleroma, you can. If you want to paint up in Pleroma, you can. If you want to go to the beach, you can go there up in Pleroma. But in the Summerland, oh no, you are only going to do, and you're only going to go where Enki, Marduk, and the Draconians and all of those with them tell you to go, tell you what to do. You're only going to do what they tell you to do, what the malevolent controllers there tell you to do. And when I asked him, I said, can you, bring into manifestation whatever you think there? And he says, I don't know. I don't really know. And he's right. He doesn't know, because they are not going to give him the power to think up and manifest anything there, because where he was, which, as I said, he was in a propaganda realm within the Matrix. He's not calling the shots there. They're calling the shots. That spirit guide who was really an archon, and Enki and Marduk, who, no, they weren't there right at that moment, but they show up later on for John. One of them show up later on for John, but they're watching too. In that realm, John's not calling the shots. They are. So no, he is not going to be able to use the ability to manifest, to think and manifest. The only time that you're able to use that ability freely is when you go to Pleroma, because even in the astro, you can't. Yeah, in the astro, you can think up something and it'll manifest, but what you think up, and let me use for example, you can think up a beautiful garden in the astro and it will appear. But when it appears, you're going to find sooner or later Enki and Marduk or the archons walking through it, because they own that manifestation, even though you thought it up, but they own it because you manifested it in their realm, on their turf. Whereas when you think up something and it manifests in Pleroma, no one who is evil can touch it. And really no one can destroy it in Pleroma except for you. Because you are manifesting it in a realm that is good, and that doesn't belong to Enki, Marduk, and the archons. So with John saying, I don't really know. No, he doesn't know if you could think up something and have it manifest there, because he never tried that, because they weren't going to allow him to try that there. No, they weren't going to allow. They don't allow free will in any of their realms. You can't even try that in the Summerland. He says that in that realm that he was in, they didn't walk. They didn't have time to walk, and they didn't fly, but that his spirit guide moved him around by thought, letting you know you have no free will there. Why didn't he say, I moved around by just thinking? No, the spirit guide, who is the archon, moved him around, which means that spirit guide archon was controlling him. See, letting you know, John's not calling the shots there. The spirit guide is. The spirit guide tells you, okay, I want you to move. So let me think up you moving here, moving there. So then this guy who knew all about, the planetary system, he showed John this sky of stars, this dark sky of stars. And he said, this is what you see when you look up at the sky. And then John saw in the sky all of these planets and all of that. And then John says, the guy says, now this is what we see when we look up at the sky. And from there, John sees hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of planets. And then John is told by this male figure, there is far more life in the universe than you can imagine. Now, he told John that when we humans, when we look up at the sky, we see the stars and we see the planets, the sun and the little planets here and there. But then he said, when he looks up at, the universe, he sees hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of planets. And this is what John saw. He saw one sky that had, the stars and little planets here and there, the sun, and I'm pretty sure Mars and Pluto and all of that. But then he saw what this male figure, who is pretending to be a spirit guide, but is really an archon, what he and everyone with him sees. What they see is a universe with hundreds and hundreds of planets. And then the spirit guide / archon tells John there's more life to the universe than you can imagine. He was talking about everything that is within this matrix. That's what he was talking about. Because, see, people just think that the matrix is just Earth, the sun, the moon, Pluto, Mars, Jupiter, Neptune, Saturn. No. You have hundreds and hundreds of slave planets within this matrix. Hundreds of them. Hundreds of them. The matrix is expansive. Just like Pleroma is expansive, the matrix is as well. The matrix is huge. There are planets out there that you don't even know about. You can't even imagine that there are planets like this planet and that planet and that planet and this planet, but they're out there. And on every last one of these planets within the matrix, there are slaves on those planets, just like here. Just like here. And those are the slaves that Enki and Marduk and the Archons they're feeding off of. You see, we were told that we only have 8 planets in our solar system. Oh, that's bull. There are more than 8 planets in our matrix solar system. There are more than that. And see, but John didn't pick up on that because he did not have gnosis. Because let that had have been, well, number one, I wouldn't have even have been in any type of realm like that in the first place. But let's just suppose some spirit guide came to me and told me, Sasha, there's more life to the universe than you can imagine, and showed me, one type of sky with stars and a few planets here, and then this other type of starry universe with hundreds and hundreds of planets. I would have known exactly what that spirit guide was saying. He was letting me know that in the matrix universe, there is more life than what we can imagine. See, we just think, oh, there's just the moon. That's the moon, which is the Summerland. The Summerland is the moon. Oh, that's just the moon when that's all there is. That's the only slave planet there is, the moon and down here. No, that's what they want us to think. That's what they want us to believe, that the only slave planets there is down here and the Summerland, which is the moon. Oh, no, 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 no. There are so many, many other slave planets out there, and they're all underneath this net grid that is the matrix. See, that was a little sliver of truth that was given to John. But you know why the spirit guide gave that sliver of truth to John? Because at that point, John ain't gonna do nothing with that damn truth. He's not gonna do nothing with that. He's not gonna do anything with that truth, because look how much of the deception he has seen so far, with him not even picking up on the fact that, oh, wait a minute, this is a deception. So at this point, yeah, the spirit guide can come on out and give him a little bit of truth, a little sliver of truth, because the spirit guide, who is an archon, he knows giving him that sliver of truth is just going to go right over his head. He's going to think it's just, it's just God is having so much, he has so much creation over the whole universe. He's going to think something like that. He's not going to even think what the true meaning of what I am saying is. That's why. Then he says you can literally have lifetimes on these other planets, on these other worlds. Well, that's true. That's exactly what's going to happen to a lot of people right when this new simulation comes in. Yeah, you're going to have a lifetime on these other planets. A lifetime of being a slave, just like you were down here. And you have people that are on these slave planets right now who are living a lifetime. They're living an actual lifetime on these slave planets, but they're slaves. He said he got the feeling that there was not really any type of kind of, religious thing going on over there. Like here we have Christianity, we have Buddha, we have all of these other religions, but he said over there it felt like they don't care what religion you follow, as long as whatever religion you follow brings you closer to God. Well, now that I do believe. The reason why I believe they did not show him the religiousness of, Catholicism is because from the way I'm hearing him talk, yes, he was a believer in the Catholic religion. But then again, it wasn't like he was a Holy Ghost type of believer in the Catholic religion. What I mean is you have some people who are Catholic. Now, let me use, for example, there was this one guy I used to know a long time ago, and his name was Caesar. And Caesar, he was a Mexican. And Caesar, he used to say, yeah, Holmes, yeah, Mary Mother of God, Holmes, Mother Teresa, and all this like that. And then he would go around, and I mean, the minute that someone stepped on a shoe, he would sit there and beat the shit out of someone and laugh about it. I mean, this guy was, he was bad. He was, I mean, I don't mean bad in a good way. He was a horrible person. But then he would also, he would also have the Catholic beads hanging from his front mirror in his car. There were times when, well, scratch that. He went to mass frequently, and he called himself a believer in the Catholic religion, despite the fact that he would take his feet and stomp into people's faces. this guy was, and that's why we are no longer friends. But he was terrible. And so you have people who are Catholics, and yeah, they go to mass and they may even study Catholicism, but they're not deeply rooted in it. Like you have Christians. You have some Christians who, perfect example, Yolanda Adams. She claims to be a Christian, and this woman, please, this woman, no. Okay. Whereas there's another woman, and her name is Dorothy Norwood. This woman here, she's a Christian, but she is fire baptized, deep in it. So John, from what I'm getting from John, is he was a Catholic worshiper. He believed in Catholicism and all of that, and I'm sure he went to mass, but he wasn't really deeply rooted in it. He wasn't deeply rooted. And so as such, when he had his near-death experience, well, there's no need showing him the deeply rooted religion of Catholicism, because he's not deeply rooted in it. Whereas someone like, let me use, for example, Kirk Cameron. Kirk Cameron, who would drink Jesus Christ's urine if he could. But I mean, seriously. Or Kevin Sorbo. If they were to physically die and cross over, they're going to see Jesus, and with Kevin Sorbo, he'll probably have the gospel choir all in the background, and it'll be the whole works, because it's tailored towards their deeply rooted Christianity. So with John, they didn't show him the deeply rooted religion of Catholicism, because while he did study Catholicism and while he was a Catholic, but he wasn't deeply rooted in it. There was more so of some spirituality mixed into that. This is why his near-death experience seemed more like spirituality than religion. But he is right. He is right when he says they don't care what religion that you follow as long as it brings you to God. And of course, God of the Old Testament is Enki. Jesus is a personality that was made up by Marduk. So he's right about that. You can be a Buddhist, you can practice Buddha, you can practice Judaism, you can practice Christianity, Mormonism, whatever religion down here you practice. It doesn't matter, because all of the religions belong to them anyway, as long as you are practicing one of these religions. Because if you are practicing any one of these religions, it's going to bring you to Enki and Marduk and their reincarnation trick. Oh, shit. Oh my God, I had to laugh at this part when he said this, watching it back. He said that when you're over in this heavenly realm, you can feel God. Well, I bet you can feel God. I bet you can, because that is Enki's realm. So I am absolutely sure you can feel God over there. You see, but to him, it's him actually feeling the God of the Bible. Oh, I'm feeling Jesus. No, it's you feeling Enki and Marduk, both of them, feeling their presence over there, because that is their realm. And he says in that realm, you can feel how much God loves and cherishes us. Again, that love that he is feeling is artificial, because Enki and Marduk are incapable of love. They are evil to the core. They are incapable of giving love, showing love, or anything of the sort, but they can mimic it. They can mimic love. They can mimic the feeling of love, and that's what they did with John. They mimicked the feeling of love for John. Because let me tell you something, if God really loved us, he wouldn't have us down here, where you have innocent people being killed, innocent people being raped, innocent people suffering through cancer and leukemia and all of these things, and just and all types of hell. No, God does not love us. No. And read the Summerland and listen to what August Cameron said at the beginning of the novel when he is having an interview on the radio about God. God does not love us at all. And the reason why God does not love us and he does not cherish us is because God is Enki. And Enki hates humans. All we are to him is cattle. Loose energy cattle. Cattle that will eventually be slaughtered and rebought right back into the clutches of him and Marduk and the Archons again to be a food source all over again. Then he talks about this building that looks like a Supreme Courthouse with the steps, and he says everything that you want to learn is inside this building. And he talks about how he goes in this building and he learns about all of the events that have happened in the past, the wars and all that. And I asked him if that is the equivalent of the Akashic records, and he says, yeah. He says something to the effect of, yeah, I believe it is. Yeah, I have never liked the idea of the Akashic records. And I've heard a lot of New Agers talk about this. Oh, you need to get into learning about the Akashic records and finding out about the Akashic records. In my opinion, the Akashic records is just another tool of Enki and Marduk's. From everything that I know through research about the Akashic records, how do you know what you're researching? How do you know that what you're finding out in these records is actually the truth? How do you know? Because according to what I have heard, the Akashic records, they say that you can access these records through spiritual guides. Here we go again. Here the hell we go. Here we go again with these damn spirit guides. This is why I don't believe in the Akashic records. I do not believe in these records. This is why I don't believe in these records, because if you are getting them from spirit guides, and as I said, spirit guides are archons, no, people can do what they want, but I don't trust these Akashic records. And hearing this man, hearing John say, yeah, when I asked him about, is this the equivalent to the Akashic records? And he says, yeah. And I believe that is exactly what it is. He was taken to a building where he was able to view the Akashic records of what happened in the past, in the present, and what's going to happen in the future. And so if Enki, Marduk, and the Archons, if they have these records, and they are the ones that have these records, damn well I don't trust the records. Hell no. Anything that comes from them, I don't trust. I don't trust. If I will trust it when I experience it, when I get to Pleroma. See, you have to get to this point too. You can't just trust any and everything that comes in front of your view just because it's coming from a New Ager, or just because it's supposedly a part of the spirituality movement, because a lot of the things are false things that keep you connected to Enki, Marduk, and the Archons. A lot of the things are connected to Enki, Marduk, and the Archons. All right, then he said in his final few moments of his near-death experience, he was taken to this area where beautiful blue sky, sun up in the sky, but then his spirit guide disappeared and he thought he was by himself. And the area where he was in, the area that he was in, there was this beautiful meadow, but the meadow was behind him. So he turns around and he looks at this meadow and he sees Jesus. Now, you all know that I have told you time and time again, Jesus, and I will debate anyone on this, Jesus Christ never existed. Not ever. It is a fictionalized personality that was created by Marduk to get people to praise him. It is one of the many imagined personalities that comes from Marduk. Okay? So it's Marduk that he sees, but Marduk is disguised as Jesus. And for those who don't know, I will say this once again, Marduk is also known as Satan. So it is Marduk, it is Satan that John is seeing. But Marduk slash Satan is disguised as Jesus. Just like when people go through physical death and they go into the afterlife, they'll see Jesus. Or some of them will even see God the Father. All of that is nothing but hogwash delusion. Because who you're really seeing is either Enki or Marduk. So John is seeing Marduk slash Satan disguised as Jesus. And this is why the spirit guide disappears. All right, I've done my job. Now, I didn't put the delusion. I done my job. I didn't put the delusion out there. Now, Marduk, is your turn. You take it over. I'm done. That's what happened. The job of the Archon, disguised as the spirit guide, his job was done. Now it's time for the big man to take over. The big man being Marduk. And seeing the big man is so that it can solidify in John's mind exactly everything that he's seeing and everything that he has been told that he is seeing. It's to solidify that. It's just like, for example, you fix a cake. You put all the ingredients together for the cake, but the cake is not complete until you put the icing on it. Yeah, you have this, without the icing, you have this naked cake. And so that naked cake is not complete until you put the icing on it. Once you put the icing on it, the icing solidifies that cake as being an actual cake. Well, that's the same thing with what happened with John. Everything that John saw, it affirmed his belief that, oh my God, heaven is real. And this is the beautiful thing that we can have in heaven here. And this is the beautiful thing that we can have in heaven there. And this and that and the third. But it wasn't complete until he saw the Messiah. Once he saw that Messiah, once he saw Jesus, that is what solidified it for him. Oh, I know I must be in heaven now because look, there's Jesus. I must be here. I swear, Lord. And here's the key thing. After his near-death experience, he said he found himself being more closer to God. And he's talking more about God. You heard it at the end of the video. See, that was the point. Now, when this man really does physically die, that's where he's going. Because this near-death experience compounded the delusion within him that, oh my God, heaven is real. Oh my God, Jesus is love. God is love. It compounded. He believed that before, but that near-death experience really solidified that for him. So now when John physically does die, that's exactly where he's going. When John physically does die, yeah, he's going to be with God. He's going to be with Jesus, God and Jesus right up there in the Summerland. That's where he's going to be, right there in the Summerland with God, who is Enki, and Jesus, who is Marduk. That's where he's going to be. You see, that's why they gave him this near-death experience. I've heard a lot of people say, after having a near-death experience, I am now so much in love with God and Jesus. I am just a born-again Christian, or my Christian faith has become so much stronger since having this near-death experience. That's exactly why they give you the near-death experience. That's exactly why they give it to you, showing you the bullshit that they show you, so that you can come away from it being forever locked with Enki and Marduk and the Archons. So I say this in conclusion, people. John J. Davis is someone who I have sympathy for. I really do. Because, like I said, I'm not going to say he's a liar because I don't believe he's lying. I believe he had this near-death experience. I believe everything that he witnessed during his experience, he did witness. But why I feel so bad for John is because his soul is so lost. His soul is so incredibly lost. And see, I could have taken the time to say, John, what you experienced was nothing but a part of the reincarnation trick process, but he wouldn't have believed me. He wouldn't have believed me because he is so deeply rooted into this religion, especially after having this near-death experience. He's so deeply rooted into what he saw and what he was told that nothing is going to turn him away from that. John J. Davis is so deeply rooted. He is already destined to go to the Summerland. He's destined to go there. And so there was no need for me to say, you know what, John, everything you experience is part of the reincarnation trick. No, it's no need. If there would have been no need in me saying that, because it wouldn't have even sunk in with him. He would have thought that I was attacking him in his religion. So it's no need. But I did want to have this interview with him so that I can hear what it's like on the other side for these near-death experiencers. And so from what I have discovered is that these near-death experiencers, when they have these experiences, they are shown all types of illusions. And these illusions are so strong that it leaves the near-death experiencer totally convinced that when they physically are done with their lives, they're going to go through the reincarnation trick. They're going to go through the reincarnation trick process. They're going to go because they're going to think it's Jesus. They're going to think it's God. They're going to think it's them going to heaven. That's what this interview taught me. But again, I do thank John for sharing this story with me, but I really feel, I feel for him because his soul is lost. His soul is completely lost and he is so disillusioned. He really believes Jesus gives a shit about him. He really thinks that God gives a shit about him. He really thinks that heaven is for real. This is the sad part. But I can only hope that somewhere along the way in the rest of his life, that some kind of awakening will come to him before he takes his last breath. I really do hope that, because if not, this man is headed to the Summerland. And so I do thank him for doing this interview with me and sharing his experience. But I do feel sorry for his soul because I know where his soul is headed if he does not awaken anytime in his life. So this is what I wanted to bring. I'm going to try to see if I can find some other people who have had experiences in the afterlife and see if I can interview them. And I'm specifically going to try to find some who have had experiences in the afterlife and who believe in the reincarnation trick, because I want to hear how they experience the afterlife. So I'm going to be looking to see if I can try to find those to interview regarding that. But thank you all for listening. I am tired of talking. It's been a long day. Leave your comments below and your discussions below about this. And this is the Afterlife discussion. Until next time.